Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we are diving into Groupon's recent filing, and let me tell you, it's a bit like finding a good deal on their site. Sometimes you strike gold, and sometimes you get something you didn't really want. We will see if Groupon found gold. This report is essentially a look under the hood at Groupon's latest performance. We'll be checking everything from how many deals they're selling to how much money they're making, and figuring out what it all means for the company's future. Before we start, if you appreciate getting straight insights from corporate documents, make sure you're subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below where you can discuss these filings with other people. This is a Form 8K filing, which is like a corporate alert for significant events. Think of it as a company shouting, hey, pay attention to this. It lets investors know about major happenings much faster than the regular quarterly or annual reports. This one is specifically about the results of their annual stockholder meeting. The main event here is the annual meeting, where shareholders voted on important company stuff. We are going to focus on who got elected to the board, who is keeping their books, and how the big bosses got paid. It is like checking who won the company elections, who is managing the money, and if everyone is okay with the CEO's paycheck. First up, let's talk about the election of directors. These are the people who sit on the board and make the big decisions for the company. Basically, the shareholders voted on who gets to be in charge. In this case, 5 people were nominated and then elected. The filing says the results with votes for and against. For Dusan Sekipulak, there were 26,339 5 ARV, for and 68,418 votes withheld. Basically, almost everyone voted yes, a tiny fraction didn't like him as much, and almost 5 million shares didn't vote. The other nominated directors had similar overwhelming votes in favour. What does this mean? Well, the shareholders are happy with these directors, at least for now. This election reflects the shareholders' confidence in the leadership team to guide the company. Next, the shareholders got to vote on who would be the independent accounting firm for 2025. It is basically like hiring a detective to make sure that the company's financials are clean and trustworthy. Think of it as a shareholder check on whether the company hired a trustworthy accountant. The vote was overwhelmingly in favour of Deloitte & Touche Shell. There were 31,234 votes for 91,544 votes, for 91,054 votes against, and 26,909 abstentions. Basically, that means almost everyone said yes to Deloitte important because it shows that the shareholders trust Deloitte & Touche. This vote is important because it shows that the shareholders trust Deloitte & Touche to keep an eye on Groupon's books and make sure that everything is above board. Enter cells that the shareholders trust Deloitte & Touche to keep an eye on Groupon's books and make sure that everything is above board. Here, the shareholders cast their vote on whether they approve of how much the top executives are getting paid. It is like the shareholders giving a thumbs up or thumbs down to the CEO's paycheck. The vote tally shows 25,892 votes for 485,622 votes against, and 33,509 abstentions. There were also 4,009 abstentions. There were also 4,009 abstentions. There were also 4,948 5,000 votes against, hints at a level of dissatisfaction with executives. However, more than 485,000 votes against, hints at a level of dissatisfaction with executive compensations among investors. Finally, the filing mentions exhibits, but it is just a cover page with interactive data, so there's not much to analyze there in this filing. So what does all of this mean for Groupon Persuvel? Well, the election outcomes show that shareholders are mostly on board with the current leadership and direction of the company. The overwhelming support for the accounting firm proves they are trusted. However, the decent amount of votes against the compensation package could be a sign some investors think the top executives are getting paid too much. Overall, this Form 8K filing paints a picture of a company where the shareholders are largely in agreement with the key decisions, but that does not mean it could not change. Alright, that's our breakdown of Groupon's report. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Also, don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching and see you next time.